It is, I think, unquestionably the most exciting time in business. Certainly in consumerism, I think definitely the most exciting time in history in terms of the vast amount of change that's happening. Change economically, demographically, change in media, change in technologies. Every occupation, every job has its occupational hazard. This is mine, the skeptic. I write articles, I do talks like this one, I do a lot of web stuff, and I take a position, obviously, on the future of consumerism. And, you know, and futurism really isn't, it's not all ruminating and, you know, incense and tea leaves and all that stuff. It's mostly just probability analysis. But I take a position on where we're going as consumers, and it's often met with skepticism, understandably. And fundamentally, I kind of get this whole skeptic thing. We're conditioned to be skeptical, I think, of the things that are coming at us. And moreover, beyond being skeptical, we're trying to rationalize change, aren't we? We're trying to put change into a context that makes it tolerable. So we come up with these sayings, and this is one of my favorites, and I get it actually, a lot of the organizations I consult to, you sort of hear this from time to time. Yeah, the more things change, the more they what? The more they stay the same. Wouldn't that be lovely, right? If things actually stayed the same, at least for a day. We heard from one of the other panelists, like it's like a 21-day window, right, for change now. But we come up with these sayings trying to rationalize this and trying to put it into a context that makes it comfortable to get up in the morning, so we don't think that everything that we knew last week or 2 weeks ago is irrelevant today. But I have a problem with this. A problem with this whole concept of what goes around comes around, and I'll tell you why. Within my lifetime, within the lifetime of a lot of people in the audience, the way you sold cigarettes, if you wanted to sell cigarettes, was like this. You just got as many doctors as you could find, you put them in a lineup, and you said, you know, got them to say, I smoke Camels, so should you, right? That's the way you sold cigarettes. And if you go back a little further, you go back into my father's generation, they actually had things called asthma cigarettes, if you can believe it, right? How many people are marketers in the audience? Okay, so here's a good little bit of marketer speak, right? At the bottom, the good news is they were not recommended for children under 6. Because, you know, you wouldn't want a 5-year-old smoking these things, right? So we were told by marketers not so long ago, within my lifetime, within your lifetime, that if you wanted healthy children, this is what you did. You just started them on cola earlier. That was the secret to having healthy kids. Attitudes towards women have changed a little bit in that time too. The chef, yeah, does everything but cook, but that's what wives are for. And she's so high on Valium, she actually believes that. How many of you have heard of Lane Bryant? Lane Bryant Fashions. Plus-size U.S. retailer, right? Very fashionable, very, very contemporary retailer. This is Lane Bryant's marketing today, and this is Lane Bryant's advertising yesterday. I'm not making this up. Same company, same brand within my lifetime, within your lifetime, right? Free for chubbies. And they wonder why we have complexes, right? Why do we have inferiority complexes? I have no idea why. So really, when you think about it, the more things change, the more they stay the same. That's not true. The more things change, the more they change, right? And things are changing really, really rapidly. And I think what's freaking us all out is not that things are changing, we expect that. It's the sheer speed of things. When I speak to retail organizations and I ask the question, how many of you, before you heard, you know, or for how many of you rather, was the first time you ever heard the word Instagram the day that you heard that Facebook had purchased it for $1 billion? Okay, so even a couple people in this audience, the first time we ever heard the word Instagram, we heard that it sold for $1 billion. So let's put that into context, right? 2 years, 12 people on staff, and however you look at the valuation, it was $1 billion. Somebody paid $1 billion, right? Took me, I worked for a company that it took 124 years to get to revenue of $1 billion. So this is the world we live in. That's how fast things are moving. I'm not so much interested in technology for technology's sake. It's not where I live and breathe. Some people think that just any technology is really cool. I'm not like that. In fact, you know, if you look at the automobile, for example, you know, in and of itself, the automobile didn't really change a lot. You know, if horse people had had their way, this would have been our version of a hybrid, you know? There was a lot of resistance to the automobile, if you can believe it. People didn't like that technology. They wanted to stick to the horse. Clay Shirky has one of my favorite quotes in this regard. I think it's just brilliant. He says, tools in any society don't become socially interesting until they become technologically boring. Right? When you think about that for a second, and put it in the context of the automobile. So the automobile was really just a combustion engine on 4 wheels. Pretty cool, right? But a lot of people didn't get it. And they really didn't feel the effect of the automobile until what? Until it started to change the surfaces that we traveled on. We got extensive highway systems that allowed us easy access to various places. It changed where we could live. We didn't need to live within walking distance of our work anymore, or within a short canter of work on our horse, right? It changed where we worked because now we could commute. We could commute on the highway system, so we could work downtown and live in the suburbs. Certainly changed where we shopped. This was the Northgate Shopping Center, I believe, in Wisconsin. It was, at the time, the largest indoor shopping complex of its kind. It changed how we behaved with our families, right? Who would ever imagine that we would be eating in automobiles? But it changed the way restaurants served food, and ultimately it became a fabric of who we are as people. It became part of our personality. So, it wasn't the technology itself that changed us as a society. It was when the technology became boring and embedded in society, that was the difference.